Hi everyone, welcome to the 96th episode of the Zicast. As always, I'm your host Ryan Zayaks, and today I'm joined by Technical Director Charlie Lebron.
Hi guys, I'm really happy to be here.
So. Yeah, I'm happy to have you, and I'd like to shout out episode 31 guest Chen for technical directing. Once again, say that again. So Charlie, I think you know what I do here. I interview people, I get to know them better, and I'm hyped to learn more about you. So how about you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, so right now I am working for NBC Connecticut, and I'm a SOC op, so I do everything from ingest to like helping out in the control room. Before this, I was working at Western Mass News, where I was fully directing the 4:30 and the 6, I think, and the 11:30 newscast, and then I got offered a job at a bigger market, and now I'm here. But before that, I've been doing this all while in school for the CPM program.
Yeah, trying to kind of juggle all that. And kind of what do you enjoy about working in TV?
I love, like, the anxiety and the stress of it. Like, when I'm in there and I know, like, because you have to pre-code a show beforehand, and you're kind of just, like, running through the, like, shots, because you're always moving around different spots because you don't really want to just have your anchor in the same spot, especially if it's a 2-anchor show. So having to juggle, like, movement and then running through your packages and your VOs, and there's always, like, an occasional hiccup, so, like, the stress of that is, like, my favorite part.
Yeah, so you kind of like being on your feet, would you say, and kind of like the fast-paced nature of it?
That's, like, always been, like, my favorite thing about film. Like, you're constantly moving, you're never really sitting down, you kind of, like, always have that fast pace.
Yeah, so you like the kind of freneticness of it. Also, I forgot where are you from?
I'm from New York. I'm from Brooklyn.
I was going to say New York, because everything's fast-moving in New York.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of just fell in love with it. I went, so I got started in film in, like, a really odd way. I went to a film high school in New York.
Oh, nice.
It's called Academy for Careers in Television and Film. And I was in middle school, and I just went to this, like, high school fair on a random day because I knew that you had to. And I didn't want to go to regular high school. I always wanted to go to, like, a trade high school so that when I left, I had, like, already something under my belt if I had decided to not go to college. And then I ran into, like, the director of the program there, and he had directed a couple episodes of Law and Order already.
Oh, nice.
So I kind of just talked to him, and he was like, well, this is what we do here. We've been doing it for a little while. We love it. And I was just like, that's insane. That sounds pretty cool. And it's a lottery. So if you get in on the chance of, like whatever happens, like, when you submit, essentially, and then they pick randomly. And so then I went, and then there's, like, a whole set of, like, films that I've made that are, like, who never see the light of day. They're so bad. That I've been, like, making since I was, like, whatever age you start high school.
Yeah, I mean, we all got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you would look at it now knowing so much, but of course, that's like I said, it's like we all kind of need something to start kind of getting our creative juices flowing. And kind of on that same topic, I'd like to ask you where your passion for film and TV just all stems from.
I would say definitely at that school, like, because you start off your freshman year with, like, a camcorder, like, nothing crazy. Then you move up to, like, what we kind of have here, like, a UX90.
Yeah.
And then you go to your junior year, and you pick a cohort, and you have grip and electric, you have hair and makeup, you have camera, and you have directing. And I was, like, gun-ho set on camera at that rate. And I kind of, like, been on that track since then. And I learned so much. Like, come my junior year, I was already working with C300s, which is, I think it's the version before what we used for the Capstone. I can't remember what exactly we used for our Capstone.
Yeah.
It was definitely
They do use the C300s, but it's a good, like, cinema level camera.
It was definitely, like, I think ours is the Mark 3 that we have here. That was definitely one of the first C300 that they created. And it was just, like, I got to learn a lot then, and so there is where I learned how to. And I had such an amazing, like, camera professor there. Her name is Jackie, and she just really drilled into us, like, industry standard, like, behavior. Like, we weren't really allowed to, like, sit on set. Like, we would have extended day. Like, that's a really big rule that, like, I know the union is trying to get rid of right now, but you're not really allowed to sit on set. You, have to make sure your equipment is secure, just things like that, and especially how to handle yourself with actors. So that's where that came from. I absolutely loved it, and I would 100% make the decision again.
Interesting. And kind of like you mentioned, like, handling, like, actors. Like, what do you mean by that exactly?
So we had at school we had people who were kind of like how we have here, like play lab.
Yeah.
And we would have them who would come in and act for us, and they had already been like acting for a little while, like nothing too crazy. And I'm pretty sure I wasn't a part of this side of things, so I can't really speak to it too much, but they had students who would who were a part of that would come and audition. Like, you definitely went through the whole like audition process of choosing your actors. Like, we had open calls sometimes, and we would learn how to, as camera specific, how to interact. Like, for example, we used to have like rolls of like marking tape, and you just be like certain, like just small things like, what's your favorite color? Like, we can use this to assign to you, and then just like kind of just like how to ask them kindly to like adjust here, because we since it's still a school, you don't have like stand-ins. Your actor is going to be your stand-in.
Yeah.
So it was kind of just like that, like just the dynamic between everyone's role, and especially like how to handle an actor, because once you're like in the real world, handling an actor can be a little like different than it is when you're in film school and you're working with friends.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of film, television, especially commercials, is to make something look good or someone look good. Yeah. So you kind of have to kind of start that early, so to speak. And you mentioned your capstone, which of course for film students is making a short film. Yeah. Do you mind telling us kind of a bit about that whole process and what that all kind of meant to you?
Yeah, I absolutely love my capstone group. Like they left. I knew them shortly before I joined them, and one of them asked me to join like randomly when we did the group. Like, they kind of have like a meeting where everyone comes, and it's everyone in the class, and so I was really overwhelmed, and I don't really know a lot of people in the film program, or at least I didn't before then. And they kind of just like was like, well, we've seen you work before, we kind of worked together before, like, do you want to come join us? And I was like, for sure. And one of them is my old roommate, Julia Kuzmenko. Shout out Julia. She was she was DP, and I was her AC, and like I was lighting as well, and we worked together great all the time. Like, the films we worked on before then had also done pretty well, like in terms of like how it ended up. And it was such a beautiful experience, because we had a lot of late nights, because ours was a horror film, and so we had to get like really innovative with the way we were shooting at night, and then shooting in the middle of the cold in upstate New York, and then just like how to make it look dark outside. Like, we were taping trash bags to like windows, and this house had so many windows. So and it was like really a team effort. I would definitely say that everyone, like most of us, put in our weight of like what like a capstone really is. Yeah,
because of course yours was a horror film, so you're trying to play up that like kind of like darker aesthetic. Like, did you have any other challenge? It was also like a cabin, like you said, in upstate New York. Did you have any other challenges kind of navigating all of that?
I would definitely say the lighting. The lighting was like our hardest part, because we had a wooden house, and it was brown walls, and those brown walls were like absorbing 95% of our light. Yeah. So we had to like boost certain things, figure out how to like reflect different stuff, so that we were able to like use as much light as possible, and like make our actors look the way we wanted to. And then another thing I would say, like in terms of like the lighting, was we were constantly trying to have like the moon play like a big part in our film. So creating that moon lighting was meaning like we had to have like a 24 foot like C-stand outside, like holding out a light. Then we have to, you have to have 4 point of contact just to make sure that thing doesn't fall over. Yeah. Then it's also snowing, so we had like all of these things, and then it started raining in our outside shoots. Just so much stuff. We're also in the middle of nowhere, and like we also had a couple like equipment issues that we had to call and like get IT to fix, like from the people we rented. It was just crazy in the sense of like the lighting and the equipment of it all. But our team definitely knows how to pivot and knows how to like work around those things, and we were able to make everything work, and I was so proud of them. Definitely,
especially after seeing the film. It was kind of like high risk, high reward things with like trying to create, I don't want to say an elaborate set like that, but kind of like a set that's harder to manage, to where you get the cooler aesthetic, but it's harder to make and more riskier to make. Would you say that like the risk was worth the reward?
100%. We kind of just finished like our final touches on it the other day. So it 100% not like, now that I can like look at the final cut and just be like, this is what we did for all that time, because it wasn't, again, like it wasn't a super easy experience, but it was 100% worth it. But we're lucky we had only one location, because I know some groups that had to like jump around, and that trying to manage like everything on top of the 1,000,001 locations, like give it to them.
Because I was talking about managing one set. That's managing multiple sets.
Yeah.
And of course, your film was Her 83.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know the title changed.
Yeah, it went from A Relentless Reflection to Her 83. Ash gave us that idea for that, and we're really grateful because that was like a long conversation on that name.
Yeah. Ashley Brandon, professor,
Yes,
film professor here,
Ashley.
may or may not be appearing on a future episode of the Zicast. Of course, you were first AC, so assistant camera, so you were handling the camera too. So that's where a lot of the lighting things kind of came into play. And lighting's always been something, at least in my time as a film student, it's always been like an elusive thing to learn because lighting something cinematically can be so difficult. Like, do you have any tips or tricks in regards to doing that?
I would just say, like, really play around with it. And I know that sometimes if you don't have a floor plan or, like, a layout, because we didn't have a layout for our set. Like, our house didn't have a ground plan at all. So I had to go in blind. And then when we came, we had, like, had photos of what the house looked like, but the photos didn't include a big section of the house. Yeah. So I made a lighting plan that completely had to be thrown out because it wasn't large enough. And we also didn't know exactly how many, like, walls were brown and how many were, like, white. So all of these are, like, what the natural lighting of the house looked like. So I would just really say, like, play around with it, you know. Do a lot of research, watch a lot of videos. I probably watched so many videos beforehand on top of Professor Dennis's class, which helped so much. Just really, you gotta move things around. Don't be afraid to, like, move things while things are rolling just to see, like, variety. Like, give your lighting character because it should be. That's
a great way to phrase it. And something I've never thought of is considering lighting as a character because so many things like setting in movies can be a character. And of course, Professor Dennis Hone may or may not be on a future Zicast. But kind of like pivoting from the Capstone, something you also did was go to the Cannes Film Festival and meet Sebastian Stan, see Sebastian Stan. So how about you tell us about that experience?
That was probably my favorite experience. There's a little story behind that. So I found out that he was going to Cannes through Variety. Yeah. And I just saw Sebastian Stan, The Apprentice, and I was like, I have to go to Cannes now. Like, this is, like, my destiny. Like, I have to. And so I went, I applied, I went, life let me go. And I just so happened to get assigned to the internship that was working on The Apprentice. I got to work on the distribution company, which is Rocket Science Industries, and it was completely coincidental. I found out my first day when I walked in, and there was a gigantic poster of The Apprentice, and I was just, like, flabbergasted because I had no idea, like, that was even going to be the film that they were representing. They were representing a couple other films at the festival, but that was insane because I was like, this is so coincidental. I never even, like, mentioned it to Blythe. Like, they choose you. That's another thing. The internships choose you based on your resume, and they chose me and one other girl from Colgate. And I had the 8 a.m. shift, which was lovely when you're in a foreign country and you want to hang out afterwards. But it was so incredibly worth it. While I was doing the internship, it was a lot of, like, sitting in on meetings, you know, showing people, like, rip reels, showing them, like, soft, like, ideas for the films that they were looking to either get funding for, pre-sale. And that's one thing I definitely loved about the internship was you got to see all of the phases of distribution, kind of, like, and how they sell them to foreign countries. And I thought that was, like, insane because it really showed me, like, a different path of film that is not really, like, discussed in film school until you get to, like, that production management level. And so from those meetings, I was eventually able to, towards the end of the film, it's coming up to the premiere. We're packaging tickets to give to people to then go to the screening because there was 2 of them. There was, like, a marketing screening for, like, investors and, like, people who wanted to buy and, like, just things like that. And then there was, like, the Cannes, like, red carpet screening. And we didn't get tickets because we were the early shift, so they didn't know how many tickets they were gonna have left over. The Colgate intern got tickets to the after party, and after my shift, I told them, I said, I really have to go. Like, I can't stay the whole shift. I need to be waiting online so that I can get into the premiere for for the Apprentice. Me, and Michaela, I'm pretty sure it was Michaela, sat out there for almost like 12, Michaela Picard, by the way.
Yeah.
Sat out there for 12 hours waiting for them to even let us in. Then we switched. I ran home, and I almost didn't make it in time for the screening to come back because they start letting you in.
Yeah.
But they don't tell you what time they're letting you in, and you don't really know the time of the screening, and they like line you up beforehand. And there was also like at least 15 people in front of us, so we were standing out there with the chance of never even going in. And we were there. It was me, Ronnie Donnell, Julia Kuzmenko, Michaela Picard, and Armand. And we were waiting, and I am running down the like plaza because you're running down. It's like a whole strip that you have to get to, and I'm running. I was trying to take an Uber, but then it was all blocked off because of traffic and paparazzi, and I'm running like in heels, in a dress, like a gown, because you have to go like red carpet ready.
Yeah.
And Armand is at the gate arguing with the guy to let me in, like before I even got there, because Armand's also you have to wear a black tie, so he was also waiting for that. And then he finally argues with them enough that they let me in. Like, he saved me, because if not, I would have never got to meet Sebastian. And I go and I turn around and we go in, and Sebastian is like one of the last people to come in, and he's like this, and he's walking, and then Ronnie and me just start screaming, Sebastian, 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 and he looks over and he waves at us and he winks, and he's like in a little umbrella, and that was the greatest day of my life.
You should have started reading out like the Winter Soldier like
Literally.
commands, and then maybe you would have like snapped into it. But no, that's literally something out of a movie, running in the heels and the dress to get there, and then Armand stalling, like I think of like the SpongeBob movie. You ever seen that? Stalling, and then you're able to get in. It's like you pulled, ironically, at 2025 can Mission Impossible be there. It's like a Mission Impossible like assignment to get inside, and that's just some of the cool experiences you can have at Cannes. And what else did you make of like just being there in France and just kind of being in this cool culture and just doing something different in a foreign country and doing kind of the thing you love in film?
So I would say like my most like interesting, like to kind of like wrap up that question, but like to my most interesting part was they have the pavilion.
Yes.
Like, there's a bunch of different countries, and they have like their stations, and you can go in, and as Quinnipiac students and as like Americans, we were given access to the American pavilion, and so that was like exclusive parties, exclusive like networking events and things like that. And we got to go to these events, and it was so interesting, so amazing. I got to meet so many people that I now know from them.
Yes.
And I've ran into this girl named Luz, and she kind of stopped me because there wasn't many Hispanic Americans there, and I'm Puerto Rican, so when she saw me and we kind of like had that interaction, and there was other people working at the American Pavilion there, she was like, she kind of started speaking to me in Spanish, and she was like, where are you from? I was like, well, I'm from the States, but like my family is born and raised in Puerto Rico, like I'm a first gen, like all this stuff. And I got to go into that network of like Hispanic like filmmakers there, and I got to go to like the Spanish Pavilion, and I got to go to like other like Spanish speaking country pavilions, and I got to meet so many other like Hispanic filmmakers that really gave me access to like films that cover like important like diversity topics, and I thought that kind of was like what I needed, especially then and there, just because it was an experience I could not get anywhere else, and I was so like grateful for that, and I'm so grateful that I ran into her coincidentally. Like I could have never ran into her, I would have never met anyone. And when a couple of our students from here went to LA, I'm pretty sure you were there as well. They went to a festival and they ran into her, and they were like, oh my god, do you know Charlie? And it was just like a whole thing, and I thought that was like amazing, because her film was screening and I was already supporting it, and it was just like, those are the experiences that Cannes gives you, and that you cannot like take for granted.
Something Catherine Tallman, who you might know, told me, networking is just making friends, and you're able to make that connection, and then being able to kind of have that kind of draw out for so long, like that the fact that QNLA students saw her, and she still remember that experience, that you were able to kind of make that impression at Cannes. And then I'm sure that's something that could circle back in the future. And that kind of leads us very well into our next topic, which is, what do you want to say with your voice in the film, television, just media world in general?
I would love to highlight like I've already done a couple films like where we cover like different Puerto Rican like topics. Like right now, I'm kind of working on this like proposal that I plan to like submit to a couple of different things about like birth control trials with Puerto Rican women and how that kind of started. So I would love to stay on that theme of like highlighting like things that are going on, whether it's narrative or documentary. I'm very interested and open in both areas, just to highlight those kind of things and also just tell fun stories that, you know, they don't always have to be serious, but still kind of like, you know, promote different voices that we may not always see on mainstream TV right now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Especially through the format of like documentary, where like even going to something like the Capstone screenings and seeing like how many great documentaries are made. It's a way to kind of take filmmaking skills and then kind of also adding on to what you said about like fast-paced nature of like television, because making a documentary is just getting like film but just in real time, so you have to be like very reactive, and I'm sure that's something that you might appreciate making if that's something that your career kind of leads you into. But to continue on this episode, I like to ask you, what are some things people might not know about you, like fun facts?
Oh, I can say this. I did like my first like I guess film internship in the middle of the city when I was like 14, and I was lugging around like random equipment like from like in the city, like in the train, which is like you should never ever run around with equipment, especially expensive equipment in the city train. That I would say that, and also just like I'm a first gen graduate. I'm trying to roll off things off the top of my head right now. I don't really know. I think that's my random facts.
I mean, that's another movie moment, like lugging all that equipment. I could just envision that. And then also kind of building on that, like, I know we know you love film, you love television. What's one thing you love and one thing you strongly dislike also in general?
I love trash talking reality TV, but still watching it. Like,
you hate watch.
I know that's so random, but I don't hate watch. No. It's not a hate watch. It's like it's like a admiration, but it's like a why are you doing that kind of thing.
Okay.
Like, I'm trying to think of what's a good example. Like,
it's kind of like horror movies when people are like, why are you making that decision?
Why are you going down the down to the basement? You know someone's down there.
Yeah.
I would say like not Love is Blind, Love Island. Like Love Island, like those kind of like crappy TV shows that are so good, like you can't stop watching. Like you can't put it down. One thing I really dislike, bad drivers.
Bad drivers. Yeah.
I know this is taking a turn, but like I just started driving not that long ago. And I'm a bad driver, so I can say it. I'm not actually a bad driver, but like, just that. Like, I just can't.
Yeah. Well, welcome to Connecticut.
I know. And I just moved to Mass, and it's like, funny enough, at my last station, we had this story where someone's car ran into a McDonald's, but the car ended up like up and against the driver window. So this is the window, and the car is like this, like where you order to take out. The car is nose up, and I saw a clip from one of the footage we had recorded on what is it called? It's like one of those Instagram sites, one of those Instagram pages where it's like I think it was World Star, and it was like Mass has been rated like the #1 bad driving like state, and it was that photo, and I was just like, this is like a sign that it's not. We're not doing too hot with the driving over there. Yeah,
it's following you from Connecticut to Mass. Yeah. You can't escape it.
Yeah, and the New Yorker drivers are aggressive. Like, I have driven in the city only a couple times, and I don't want to do it again. So.
Yeah. Do you think they told him that the McFlurry machine was down?
Probably.
Was that his reaction, that he was going to take McDonald's down with him?
Yes, probably.
So, of course, we hope we don't run into bad drivers. What are some of your hopes and dreams professionally or in general?
One of my hopes and dreams is that I can become a regular at Cannes and like at the other big 5 festivals, even if it's not like me giving a film. I want to be able to consistently go and just like help other filmmakers there. And this is like so high and like aspirational, but I would love to win a Palme d'Or. I have it tattooed on my finger because I got it when I was there, and it was like the coolest thing ever. So like that's kind of like my Cannes reminder. So I would love to do that. And then, like, in a more realistic sense, I would love to, like, just be able to do film and, like, it be enough to sustain me. Like, that's all I don't need to be rich. I don't need to be I just want to make awesome films and, like, live a cool life.
Yeah, I mean, no aspiration is too high, in my opinion. Why not shoot for the stars?
Right.
And try to get the Palme d'Or. But of course, like, to win a Palme d'Or, you need to be influenced by some good movies. What are some of your favorite movies?
Okay, right now, my favorite movie is Nora. 10 out of 10. I absolutely love it. I love the dedication behind the actors. I love the intention with the lighting. That is another film where, like, lighting is your character. Like, it's in itself a character, and as well as, like, the props. That's one of my favorite films. Sinners right now.
Yes.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. I hope that they make it into, like, a cinematic franchise, like a cinematic, like, world, kind of like how they have Marvel, but not, like, in that tone of things. Just, I would love for them to explore, like, the spirituality of Sinners and, like, the intertwinedness of, like, your ancestors with music, and then, like, go through different decades. Like, there's so much room for growth. Not growth, or story to expand in there. It's just a beautiful, beautiful film.
Kind of like spiritual sequels in this sense.
Yeah.
Not to literally be on the spiritual angle, but, like, yeah, to kind of, like, take that story, but with different people in a different time. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, or even just, like, explore, like, what we had already seen. Like, we clearly, there's a heavy emphasis on, like, the Jim Crow era there. I would love to see how the main character is he had the the brother had Michael B. Jordan's character had the promise to not mess with him. Yeah. But I would love to see how they, like, how he got there, like, how he was able to kind of, like, sleep at night. 'Cause he said he never was really able to sleep at night, like, after the credits. After that whole thing, like, how slavery played a role in there, how, like, just, like, the historical events, because clearly history is a big piece of that. And also, like, the other characters, like, when we have that montage scene of, like, him singing and the other, like, future and past, like, selves come in, like, I would love to, like, know a little bit more about those people and how, like, they're impacted by, if they were even impacted by the vampire situation. And
Yeah, it was just great to see Michael A. Jordan get a role.
Yeah.
I'm stealing that from a Letterboxd review joke, but yeah, because of course Michael B. Jordan, they're playing two different characters. So
I know. I didn't even know that he was a twin. And when I went, I actually saw it, like, right before I came here. So I went and I was like, whoa, twins. I was like, I can mess with this.
Yeah, a lot of in the year of 2025, a lot of movies starring actors playing the same characters.
Yeah.
Mickey 17, Robert Pattinson, Alto Knights, Robert De Niro, and probably a bunch of others I can't think of.
Yeah.
But then Michael B. Jordan in Sinners. At least as of right now, my favorite movie of 2025.
100% agreed. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, and this was an excellent episode of the Zicast, Charlie. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. It was good.
Do you have any motivational words or plugs or anything you want to leave the audience with?
I guess just keep making films, even if or keep making whatever you're doing. Like, I know the industry is especially the communications industry is heavily changing. News, TV, like, film, like, everything is kind of, like, in flux. Like, don't get discouraged if you can't, like, get a job, or, like, if you can't find a way in immediately. Like, it's gonna take a minute, and it's okay. Like, it's gonna work out.
Definitely. It was great you were able to share your story about now working in television and being able to be in an environment that you're thriving in, but also all these cool experiences, like with your capstone that a lot of film students do, and of course at Cannes, which is like the filmmaker's dream.
Yes.
And getting to see The Winter Soldier, amongst a lot of other things. And I'm excited to continue to see how you keep spreading your voice, spreading your vision, and keep just kind of making these things you love. And it was greatly inspiring to have you here. So thank you, Charlie.
Thank you for having me. It was great talking to you.
Of course. And as always, this is Ryan Zayaks for the Zicast, for Everyone Has a Story, signing off. Thank you so much for watching.